You understand what I'm saying? I feel like I make sense. So, hey y'all, and welcome to the Run Your Mouth for March. Sorry it's so late, but if you've been keeping up with the vlog and stuff, it's been a very busy month. I also apologize for any noises that may happen. I just can't guarantee that it's going to be like quiet the whole time I'm filming. But today's going to be a short one, and also the sun is out. If you don't know, I got mad sensitive eyes. Like my eyes will start watering just off the sunlight. So I'm going to try and look at you as much as I can, but if I put my glasses on, it is what it is. But so the message that I've been getting pretty much all 2020, but it's been forced on me in March, is to release, okay? I like to think that I can go, okay, sorry. I like to think that I can go with the flow, but if I'm gonna be honest with myself, I go with the flow better when it's flowing in the direction that I want it to go, which defeats the purpose of going with the flow. So there's a balance in nature. There's a balance in nature, like the whole yin and yang thing. It's a balance of contrast, right? So for a while I felt like, well, one, I'm gonna go after what I want, period. Like, especially if I feel like it's healthy for me, I'm going to go after what I want. And there's gotta be a balance between going after what you want and accepting what the earth gives you, or accepting what the universe gives you. Because going after what you want doesn't always just mean you. Sometimes going after what you want involves other people. Sometimes going after what you want is dependent upon other people. Like when you come to like wanting a job, most people can't hire themselves. So I feel like I got myself in a bind going after what I wanted relentlessly. Like any signs that I received, I was just like, okay, I still want it though, so I'm gonna still go for it. But the signs were really like, the signs weren't saying I couldn't have what I wanted. The signs were just saying, you know, maybe this isn't the time, or maybe this isn't the season. Like, you can still get what you want, but trying to force it in the time frame that you want and in the nature that you want can mess up what the universe is going to give me. And that applies to friendships, financial situations, as far as I'm concerned. No, not as far as I'm concerned, sorry. Relative to me. So if this applies to you in another category, definitely take it there. But I'm just letting you know, like, these are the categories that I'm experiencing and I'm having this awakening in. I really think those are the only two that I ended up backtracking. And really the financial thing was, it wasn't so much financial as just living independently. Like, I really wanted to maintain that, and I feel like because I tried so long to maintain something that was put on a halt, or because I tried to outweigh a situation, that I ended up putting myself in a position where I had to be dependent. And as far as the friendship or the relationship went, I feel like I wanted I wanted to maintain a good friendship that was naturally established, but I feel like the second that I put intention behind it, it started to fall apart. And I'm sorry, these people are roofing across the street. And I'm talking to y'all and I'm watching. But me, like, I like to plan things out. I like to know what page everyone is on so that I can proceed in the best manner. But also, everyone's not like me, so everyone may not want to figure out what's going on before they move forward. And me trying to figure it out could have created distance, whatever. Honestly, it doesn't make the most sense to me, so I'm not gonna go too far into it, but I gotta let it not make sense and keep it pushing, you know? Like, all the sayings in the world, like, we already know. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. You can even flower the plant, but it's God that makes it grow, or God that allows it to grow. So it's just, it really is a control thing. I don't think I meticulously try to control things, but I do think that I try to make sense of what is to come before it comes. And that's a setup. That's a setup, Ebony. So, like I said, the word I keep hearing is release. So I'm trying to figure out for myself, how do you release while building with expectation? Because I do have expectations for myself. Oh yeah, I gotta keep them on. I do have expectations for myself, and I'm not talking about like specific expectations, but I know what I want and I know what I don't want for myself. More specifically, I know for a fact what I don't want. So I'm trying to figure out, how do I live and release when I'm in situations that I don't want? And it's not that I don't want them just for like material reasons or superficial reasons. I don't want certain situations because I don't want to get used. I don't want to get numb to things that aren't for me. I don't want to develop habits off of an environment. And I really feel like I'm being super vague, but I'm stuck. I don't really know how to say it. And you know, this isn't my last time dealing with this in life. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna deal with it continuously, like forever. So I'm just trying to figure out maybe like a mantra or a mindset or a system or something that allow, and whether you want to hear it or not, scripture, absorbing scripture does help with these things, because once you understand that there's really no control and that whatever happens, like your effort, you can still put your efforts in, like you can still try, but it's up to you how much you want to try, and it's up to you how far you're willing to go. It's up to you if you over try. It's up to you if you wear something out. But at the end of the day, the only thing you can control is what you do. You can't even control how people interpret what you do. So I really feel all over the place. This is probably the first one that I've just done off script without like planning ahead. Like, I knew I wanted to talk about release, but this is probably the first one I just put the camera on and let's talk. But when I hear release, I associate it with get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I really think that's not a concept that I actually embraced until maybe I was 22 or 23. And I embraced it because I see the benefit in it. Like, I do. Hold on. I embraced it because I see the benefit in it. Because if you can get comfortable with being uncomfortable, that's not saying that if you can get comfortable being yourself through an uncomfortable situation, that's not saying like it gets uncomfortable and you avoid it. That's not saying it gets uncomfortable and you substance your way through it. Like, we all have our forms. Like, if you don't do illegal drugs, you do coffee, you do nicotine. Like, some people do nothing, more power to you, that's great, and maybe you've got your own coping mechanisms, but I'm not trying to condemn, you know, if you use something. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. But if you like depend on it to wake up and go through the day, that's what I mean. Like, you're not comfortable with uncomfortable. You're like bearing through or barely making through the uncomfortable because you're not your present, your full self through the situation. That ties to the word release to me because it's just relinquishing expectations. And maybe I should bring in the word abstain, because if you can abstain from developing expectations or from developing control issues, then what is there to release if you work on not attaining it? You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I just, like, in people I see, like my mentors and stuff, I feel like they have, and of course, yeah, I think all the mentors I'm talking about are older than me. I hesitate to say this because I don't want to leave anyone out, but I think the only like mentor I have that's close to my age is Ambria, and I believe that she's got a ton of experience just living life. I believe she's gained a lot of her wisdom, a lot of her behavioral and mental wisdom from her dad, which is, and probably her dad and her mom, but her dad is for sure one of my mentors. And like, no matter like what happened in the situation, I recall him being very calm, very zen. Not to say he's not like interpreting anything from the situation, not to say he doesn't have feelings towards it, but looking back at it, I feel like he's just accepted and understands the fact that like he can only control himself, and even that's to an extent. But like, if you can't control everything, and everyone says it's easier said than done, but if you can't control everything, why get so emotionally affected by everything? So I think that's what I'm trying to establish, or that's what I'm trying to translate through this message of release. But like, my real battle with it is like, there are things worth fighting for in this life, and my battle is like when do I actually like release something? And when I fight for something, should I actually like actively be fighting for it, or should I release and then if the opportunity represents itself, just be there and be myself, as opposed to fighting for something that feels like it's turning sour, or fighting for something that feels like it's no longer beneficial? I don't know. I'm just growing, trying to be great in life. Well, not that. I feel like a lot of people are trying to be great in life, but just being honest, some people are irreplaceable because the world gets bigger and bigger I want to say every day, but really every minute. We're going to get technical about it. But with that, the influences over society, and if you're watching this from another state, another country, I'm talking about what I see in Georgia, in America, North America. And I've only been in 2 places for real, and that's Warner Robins, Georgia, and Atlanta, Georgia. The world is getting bigger and bigger by the day, and influences are getting worse and worse by the second. Like, they just are. And the thing is, a lot of the things, I'll include myself, I don't know what I'm actually influenced by. Like, I try to filter what I intake, but again, I can't control everything. I do receive some things that I don't want to, and I don't know how it affects me. But the influences or the media that is pushed on us, which ends up influencing us, it's not prosperous. It's not fruitful. It's actually destructive. And the wild thing to me, like, some people are real, and I commend y'all for being real. I really do. If that's how you live and that's what you promote, at least you're being real with yourself. But some people, they're just doing what it takes to get the currency, okay? And people listening to them, and while they're doing what it takes to get the currency, they're not living that way. That's not what their heart desires. It's just what's necessary to make it in America or on Earth. If you feel what I'm saying? Like, I really feel like, I can't say a lot, but I really feel like there's a decent amount of, like, good, genuine people in media who end up portraying destructive personalities, and the people receiving the media associate the face with the character, or the face with the personality, or the results with the behavior that they see. Like, it's all over the place. That was a little bit of a tangent, but what I'm saying is, when I find people who are not in that status quo, I want to keep them. Not like by my side or hitched to me, but I want to maintain a positive relationship with those people, because I see down the line. Like, I do see down the line. And there people older than me is like, it's probably like, you're not looking down the line. And I'm like, okay, you may not think I'm looking down the line, but also I may prioritize different things than you want me to prioritize. That was another little tangent. We're not going into it. But I really appreciate and value genuine people. And furthermore, when, like, you're genuine in all conditions. Like, some people are only genuine when everything's good. And it's a growth thing. It's a growth thing, because I wasn't always like that. I ran from uncomfortable things. I try not to do it too much. If I feel like I'm wasting my time, I will kind of retreat, and maybe that's probably something I still need to work on, because I associate my time being wasted with past experiences. but I'm also about giving people second chances, or giving people that space to improve and grow, and I shouldn't hold them to the past. So that's something I for sure have to work on, releasing my past experiences, and not holding my past experiences as a wall or as a border. In the same breath, it's not wise to release everything, because we're not trying to run in circles, you know? So, what does Ebony mean? What's she trying to do for real? She doesn't even know. But I do know that trying to plan ahead for everything and understand everything doesn't work. It don't work. And in some cases, it sets yourself up for failure. And I know that just living the wherever the wind blows thing, I may not have a lot of disappointments, but I do feel like my progress and productivity and whatnot will be stunted. This is a topic I feel like comes up in almost every podcast, but just the balance between release and plan, the balance between go with the flow and lay out what you want, the difference between let go and let God, and the seeds you plant. And now I genuinely believe that, like the last two I said, I believe that seeds will be planted when you let go and let God. However, I do feel like some sense of personal direction is necessary. But too much personal direction will mess you up. So, like I said, this is probably going to be an ongoing lesson for me. And I hope I find a good mental balance around it soon. But like, that's really something I want to get off my chest. So, you know, if y'all feel me, talk to me in the comments. I'll talk all day. I'll write paragraphs. We can have a full conversation, you know. But tangible advice, I shouldn't say that. That's kind of oxymoron. Advice that can actually be applied to everyday life is something that I really appreciate and I really value. And I value others who value it as well, because we see the important things. And not to say everyone doesn't like see it, but like we see what's important, we acknowledge it, we search for things in ourselves that can be strengthened, and we try and figure out how we can apply it to our life. And I value that tremendously. So in this all over the place message about release, I feel that I've come to a conclusion. Maybe I should write out, you know, a 3-strike rule or something like that. And I don't really like rules because I don't feel like they adhere to each situation. Like a rule that works over here shouldn't be applicable over here because they're different situations. But, you know, like I said, I'm a persistent person. I go after what I want. But at a certain point, continuing to push for something that I want that the universe clearly don't want to give me, at least right now or in this season, is a little detrimental or a little destructive. So maybe I'll do like a 3-strike rule. If I've tried for it 3 times, release. And then whenever God, the universe is ready, if God or the universe wants it for me, period, it'll come back. Or things will line up. But continuing to try past 3 times, and like, this is another reason why I said I don't really like rules, because I don't think that rule should apply if you're, well, it may be helpful, but like, if you're trying to get a certificate, or if you're trying to reestablish family connections, there are some things I feel like you should try relentlessly. Like, relentlessly. And I also think that maybe my upbringing, I shouldn't really say upbringing, but my experiences as a child probably have a good bit to do with it, because I was happy, but I was in a situation that if I had a choice, I didn't want to be in it, because it was a lot of tug of war. Oh, I felt a lot of tug of war, but I also feel like I built up a resilience to things not going the way I want. And the resilience in a way that it doesn't matter if it doesn't go the way I want, I'm still going to try and chase it. And I think that's positive to a certain extent, but I don't know. I think a control factor would be beneficial for me. And personally, I'm really, as far as my spouse relationship goes, I don't have one, but I'm not here to force or rush anything in that category, but I do believe that there's importance in having someone else to be in an intimate relationship with, because when I'm in that situation, I will trust that person to give me advice, and I will trust that person to, let me know if I'm giving too much to something, or if maybe I just need to release something and see what happens, but a person just being by themselves, we just got these thoughts talking to us all day, and I think it is beneficial to have another being who is close to you. Like, I have best friends, okay? They are close to me. I can talk with them with just about anything, but they don't go throughout my days with me. And I don't think that my spouse would either, but like not like 24/7, if you know what I'm saying. But my best friend doesn't scratch the proximity that a spouse would. You understand what I'm saying? I feel like I make sense. So I do think that having another person who has your best interest at heart, but also knows what you prioritize, and like is combining those two in the way that they think and advise you, I think that's really healthy for somebody, because like I said, we weren't meant to go through life alone. Like, we just weren't meant to, because we only see things from our perspective, if that were the case, and that's another setup. So I'm gonna find a balance between release and planning the future, because planning is necessary, like, for the most positive outcomes. You don't want to not plan. You don't necessarily have to follow to the T everything in the plan. I know it's preferred, but at least have a plan. Don't just, or let me just say, I don't think it makes sense to expect to get from point A to point J just by going with the flow. Like, you don't got no plans, like none. Like, it's by the grace of God that you got there. That's lovely. It happens for people. But more fruit comes and you're more aware. I don't know. Those last couple sentences kind of all over the place. I really hope this whole message hasn't been all over the place. I'm sorry if it has. I don't like making excuses for things, but for y'all people who like to associate things with things, I'm a May Taurus. I'm the oldest child. I'm the oldest grandchild. I'm the mediator between my parents. So maybe I've had to be in a position where I planned and controlled a lot of things. But I do like structure. I do want to continue that structure, but I don't want to be so structured that that God can't give me what's for me. You know what I mean? So if you like to plan and control like me to a point where you're kind of backtracking from your progress, and sometimes that happens, but consistent backtracking, that's not what we want. So if you're like me in that aspect, I advise that you try and find some way to release. I'm trying to find ways to release. I really feel like God forced me, Yahweh forced me to release in the last couple months, and it was probably for my own good, you know. But if you can find a way to release before you are forced to release, and you can be aware of it, and you can get a little bit of a balance going on, I'd really love that for you, because I would have loved it for me. And I felt like I was stalling before, but I didn't have sense enough. I shouldn't say that. I wanted to maintain what I had so bad that I wouldn't temporarily remove myself. Like, I just stayed there waiting. So as far as, my understanding goes, I feel like Yahweh made me release. Like, you stubborn child, you've been holding out for a few months. Like, I ain't mad at you, but boom, now you gotta release for real. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this message. I hope that you got something beneficial for yourself from this message. If you got comments, talk to me. I'm gonna talk back, I promise. And I'm gonna see y'all next video, okay? Be blessed.